Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, the my game decided to freeze. Once my Streamlabs decided to poo itself. But we are live, we are green, and we are ready to go. Matt Wright didn't make the start, so he starts from pit lane, nor did a Mercedes or a Chevy by the looks of things, but we are green and go here. And it is, Vesely and Stardog both didn't make the start, but it is O'Reilly. He's already got the jump on Tordok as they head towards turn number 1, but there is the Chevy Camaros as well as they're all breaking into turn 1, but O'Reilly has the inside. Tordok's going to stay strong on the outside, and there's contact behind, and Tordok gets the job done, and Clouden has cleared the few cars there as the rest of them come fanning out of the pits. A lot of cars off and a lot of cars damaged by the looks of things as they try and get themselves going once again. Anyone else caught up in all that? Doesn't look like it. Just a few cars involved in that one. But Tordok did lose the jump of the start, but he is still ahead of O'Reilly, ahead of Clouden, and ahead of Sil. So O'Reilly's going to be pressuring the back of that Porsche as much as he possibly can as they're trying to get temperature there. You can see O'Reilly trying to get the temperature inside his car. Into the braking zone. Oh, is that Friedman? He's missed his brakes. He's gone deep, and they all start to work their way past him. But Tordok, can he start pulling away from the guys behind? That is the question. As Clouden's had a decent start. And this is the chasing pack behind Tordok. O'Reilly right there with him, wanting to put some pressure on the leader. And in the background, Stilt has got past Herbert there, so Herbert losing another position there. He's got Duffin just behind him, and just behind Duffin is O'Reilly, who's looking to have a good exit and a good run down the main straight. Duffin going a little bit wide there. But down the main straight, there you go. And Herbert's coming back on the attack of Silth in front, and Will Friedman's going up the inside as well. Herbert gets through Silth. Friedman gets past Duffin as they work their way through the first couple of corners. Clouden a little bit loose there and losing grip to, losing touch to Tordok and O'Reilly. As those two start to pull away, what happening elsewhere in the pack? John Goudet sticking with them as is Skunky. Hibbs has gone off big time. Has he come together with Cummings? Looks like he has, because they've dropped down the order. Hunter's worked his way through the order as well, as Carlos working his way up the track, as Unsworth has ended up down the order. He's fighting with Aberdeen and a few others. There's a lot of cars out at different positions here. And they're all just trying to get themselves back into some form of order. But it's still Tordok leading the way ahead of O'Reilly, and Clouden's under pressure from Herbert now. So the two Chevy Camaros going at it on American soil, the two American cars side by side, and they're going to go at it together. Side by side they go, Silth right behind them and has nowhere to go. He looks to the inside, but there Clouden closes the door. Silth can't find a way through. Friedman's there as well. They're about to go three wide as they head towards the chicane, and around the outside goes Herbert. Has he gone too deep? Yes, he has. He takes the bollard out, and back through goes Silth. Friedman, and will Duffin gain on this one? No, he's not quite close enough, but Friedman gets the position. And now Duffin goes wide. He manages to avoid the wall, and just behind them as well is John Goudet, who's sticking with them, as is Ramsel and Skunky. So from third all the way down to 10th, it's quite close between those guys, as Herbert once again on the attack of Friedman. And he's going to go up the inside of the Porsche, bounces over the curb. The Chevy can take the curbs a little bit better than the rest, but Friedman stays ahead of the Chevy Camaro. Duffin under a little bit of pressure now from Goudet, as O'Reilly still sticking to the back of Tordok. No real threat at this stage as the kind of pack starts to sort itself out. And Skunky makes contact with Ramsel. Ramsel makes contact with him, and Skunky tries to stay out of the way, wait for him to come through, and they all start working their way through, and Skunky has got going. Ramsel flashing the lights. I don't know if that's appreciation or annoyance, I do not know, but he has allowed him back in front. And that's, of course, all sorts of drama there. Meanwhile, Duffin has got ahead of Herbert, so Herbert's lost more time here somehow and has dropped behind Duffin. Looks like O'Reilly just losing touch to Tordok here. Tordok starting to get in a little bit of a groove at this stage. So the top two pulling away as Jamal Clouden seems to be the cork in the bottle at this stage. He's ahead of Silva, ahead of Friedman. Duffin now holding up the two Chevy Camaros just behind him. He's got Herbert and Goudet, who's not quite close enough at this stage. Meanwhile, we've got the Jackal attacking, being tagged by Carlos. So Carlos has gained the position there, and the Jackal dropping down. Now it's Hunt's turn to have a go at the McLaren, but look how quick that McLaren is in a straight line. As I wanted the right camera, it's not giving it to me. And look, Jackal's right on the back of Carlos. Carlos can't find a way through at this stage. Oh, as we see there, I think Hunt got tabbed by Smith there. Smith sending it up the inside. But Smith gaining the position. Old Sim Racer now falling behind as Hunt drops behind the pair of them. O'Reilly, though, setting the fastest lap of the race, but still on the back of Tordok. Clouden ahead of Silt, ahead of Friedman, and Duffin's been passed by Herbert, and now could Goudet do anything about Duffin? Oh, and Herbert makes another mistake there. He seems a little bit sloppy in this feature race, not sure why, but he's just a little bit all over the shop. Track has now gone to optimum, so there is more grip coming from the cars. More pace coming from him, as we see there. Smith, where's Jackal? He's got past Smith and Old Sim Racer. Sorry, Hunt was behind them. So Smith there, looking like he's had a mistake there. And now we've got Hunt behind him with Unsworth. Pretty much the entire rest of the field behind them. Hunt go up the inside of Unsworth. He gets that job done. Ramsel and Skunky trying to work their way back up the order. And through the S's they go. Oh, you see there, Ramsel pretty much pushing the other Aston Martin. Right behind them, and you see the two Astons. They're going to split the Porsche. They're going to go down into turn number one. And Ramsel tries to outbrake both of them, but Unsworth is the one that gets the job done. And around the outside he goes. Beautifully done there from Unsworth. And he gains one position, Ramsel gains another. Meanwhile, up the inside goes Aberdeen. Aberdeen's under pressure from Taylor, so Taylor's going to go up the inside of Aberdeen, and Johnson's just on the back of him as well. Aberdeen goes wide, and Johnson goes up the inside. Nervous driving from the guys in front. Meanwhile, Jamal Clouden still holding on to that third place position, where he's still got Silt and Friedman both setting quite quick laps, as Friedman now goes fastest lap of the session. Herbert pulling away from Duffin now. Duffin's under pressure from Goudet. So the Camaro seems to be working at this stage, while Tordok still just tries to keep O'Reilly at bay. O'Reilly just doing that classic O'Reilly thing of just sitting there and being a little bit of a nuisance, just waiting for the opportunity to come. Meanwhile, once again, Smith under pressure. Unsworth looking to make the move on him as Ramsel's right behind him. Three Aston Martins going at it at this stage. Wheel-to-wheel action. Bouncing over the curbs. Hunt is there. Skunky is there as well. All those guys ready for an opportunity to make a move and make an opportunity pass another car. Once again, the Aston's just fanning out a little bit. Skunky's made a position now. He's got up the inside of Hunt. Job done for him. Now Johnson, I think, is making a position. Looks like a car. Smith had made a mistake. He became loose and lost out to Unsworth. Ramsel now Skunky and now Hunt as they all go up through past him. Here comes also Taylor. Taylor's jumped onto the back of this squabble. And he wants to part of the action. He's now got past Smith. And Smith up the inside and understeers into Taylor. And Smith dropping down. Tordok still though. 8-10 separating those two as Jamal Cloudon's actually starting to catch him as he's got Silth, and Friedman hunting him down, and they're hunting down the leaders. It looks like Cloudon and Silth and Friedman are trying their absolute hardest here. They're racing each other, but at the same time, they are bringing the gap down to the top two, bit by bit. Ramsell now pulling away from Skunky and Hunt as this mid-pack has now spread itself out a little bit. Yeah, it's all just spread out a little bit. Wheel there just behind Hibbs, Stardog and Wright all going into the chicane. Oh, and they're trying to give each other space and room here. Hunt, Wright looking to make a move on Stardog. Hibbs is with him as well. So the guys who you'd expect to be at the top end of the grid, they're not there at the minute. They're just struggling by the looks of things. And Wright looks like he had a great run through there. He's onto the back of Stardog. Gonna try and outbrake him and go around the outside. No room there, but you have the inside for the next part of the corner. And he's not quite got the confidence on the brakes. The Stardog gives him the racing room. Fair racing here. And Hibbs, out of all of them, might benefit. Yes, he will, as Wright goes understeering wide. And Hibbs up the inside. Oh, and Wright keeps it together just about. Meanwhile, Cloudon has now dropped Silth and Friedman, because Friedman has got past Silth. And are they busy having their own little fight at this minute? And just lost to terms with Cloudon? That is the question, because O'Reilly still, once again, just 8 or 7 or maybe 9/10 separating the top two. It's just sitting at that gap in a minute. Tordok just doing everything he can at this stage. Duffin has pulled away from Goudet as we now got Carlos just behind him as well. Let's go, Hibbs. Keep pushing. You got this, Greasy. A massive Greasy supporter in the chat. Nice to see that. And Skunky now trying to work his way onto the back of the two Aston Martins. Meanwhile, O'Reilly has brought the gap down to half a second to Tordok, and the straight line of that McLaren helping him out massively as they head into the chicane. But Tordok, at the minute, doing everything right. He's keeping the cars behind. Jamal Cloudon still has a healthy lead over Friedman, but not a massive amount. Duffin has pulled away from Goudet. Like I said, he's got Carlos hunting him down instead. And up the inside goes Carlos. Possibly another door opening here. Goudet gives him the space. They're still side by side. Carlos going to try and go around the outside. They rub doors. Carlos is going to try and hold it strong to go all the way around the outside, but he can't quite do so and has to fall into place. So, John Goudet still ahead of Carlos as these two are having a great little scrap right now. We go back to your leaders, 4:10 still separating these two. It is O'Reilly and Tordok. And they're still ahead of Cloudon and Friedman. That gap's come down again. Matt just not able to stick with Herbert at the minute, and Herbert pulling away. Carlos has now got past Goudet. So Goudet, they're losing out. And he's flashing the lights, so obviously he's not happy with him for some reason. And Skunky now looking up the inside. Both of them has got past Unsworth. So Skunky looking up the inside of Ramsell. And Ramsell can't quite get ahead. Ramsell stays ahead, sorry. Unsworth's back up the inside of Skunky. And Skunky there just losing out to the Mercedes, to the Aston Martin. And here comes Unsworth. He's in the slipstream. He's in the tow. Is enough to get past the Mercedes-Benz. Meanwhile, behind them, Taylor is passing Hunt, and Hunt is going to lose a position. Yes, he is, as Taylor goes up the inside. The job done for him. O'Reilly still just on the back wing of that Porsche of Tordok. And right now, Tordok just doing everything he possibly can to stay in front of the McLaren driver. And Clouden also still got pressure from Will Friedman behind him. We're still just dropping off the back of these guys now. Jackal has caught Millington, so Millington's either made a mistake or dropped a lot of time here, and the Jackal is on the back of him. Old Sim Racer having a better race this time round as well. Ramsel has been passed by Skunky now, and Skunky back up a position. Hunt is under pressure once again from Johnson now and Aberdeen, so the back end of the grid seems to be a lot of fights going on here. But again, not really much changing in positions wise. Meanwhile, Friedman now attacking Jamal Clouden. Looking left, looking right, he can't quite find a way through. And Clouden just having to hang in there. Meanwhile, still Tordog bends off O'Reilly. And through the S's they go. Jamal Clouden ahead of Friedman. And Friedman now looking to make an opportunity while he can, but he can't seem to find a way through at this stage. Silth is just waiting patiently for his opportunity to attack. As we go through the S's once again, Friedman right up the back bumper of Jamal Clouden. Friedman waiting for that prime opportunity to try and catch the Chevy Camaro out when he can. As Clouden goes a little bit deep there. Jamal Clouden doing everything he possibly can to keep the Porsche behind. Pit window is going to open up very, very shortly. And once again, O'Reilly is just in touch with Tordok, but can't really do anything to him at this stage. Pit window has now opened as we go on board with Will Friedman, who is trying to get past Jamal Clouden. There's a possible opportunity, and Clouden just blocks it off, but it has allowed him to go a little bit deep, and Friedman once again has to just check up. Friedman giving a flash to the lights, possibly moving under braking maybe, and Silth is just behind the pair of them. Both of them understeer, and Silth has a much better run through there. And Clouden having to do his absolute best to defend from these two. A lot of cars coming into the pit. Old Sim Racer, Skunky, Taylor, Hunt, Aberdeen and Marsden all into the pits. Meanwhile, Tordok, you can see there, the gap has extended between himself and O'Reilly. But it's this fight between these three. Oh, Silth there very late on the brakes as Friedman gets very, very close to him. And you can see there, Jamal Clouden doing everything he possibly can to keep these two behind him. Is there going to be an opportunity for Friedman? No, there's not. Silth right behind him as well. They're just waiting for one mistake to happen. And they're still going at it. Jamal Clouden might be under a little bit of pressure here. He does get a better run through the final corner though. He's giving them both a toe, but the Chevy just has enough grunt to keep him behind. So Friedman's going to have to try and do something quite ingenious here. Oh, he's going to go to the outside this time. Try and possibly make Clouden go deep. Not this time round. A great racing from these three at the minute, as O'Reilly has caught Tordock once again. Meanwhile, Duffin has been caught by Carlos. So Carlos is right behind him as Jackal now pits. Unsworth is on the back of Ramsel as they now head towards turn number 1. But Carlos here now also looking to attack Duffin. Duffin under pressure. Sills and Friedman are still attacking. Meanwhile, as Archer has stayed on track, as Stardog opted to go into the pits, as does Wright, and a lot of cars in the pits. Skunky, the leading car of the pitters, and they're all going to sync in with the leaders as well. So it's all quite tight towards the front. And once again, O'Reilly just will not let Tordock go. A little bit of unders there, I think, there from O'Reilly, and losing some time. But still, Jamal Cloudon's got this pressure of Friedman and Silth breathing down his neck. Into the final corner they go, still following on one another. Will Friedman possibly has a run, has an opportunity here. He's had a great run through the final corner. He's right up the back bumper of Jamal Cloudon. He couldn't be any further behind him, but look, he's in the toe, he's in the slipstream, but that Chevy just a lot better in a straight line. But Cloudon is going to brake earlier. Friedman's going to go around the outside. And job done there. Beautiful move there from Will Friedman. Position gained. Cloudon drops back, but he's going to come back on the attack. He's going to go back up the inside. Friedman is going to give him the racing room, but Cloudon struggling with grip as Friedman bounces over the grass, over the curb. He manages to get to the corner, and Jamal Cloudon loses the position there. Well done to Friedman. That was a brilliant move. And Jamal Cloudon's going back up the inside. Friedman just gives him enough room. That's a little bit desperation there from Cloudon. He's still trying to fight it off as they go side by side, heading towards the left-hander now. Is Cloudon better on the brakes? No, he's not. He's going to try and undercut Friedman, but Friedman, you've got to wake up earlier in the morning to do that to him. He is a little bit more awake on that one, as Duffin has come into the pits and been jumped by Goudet, and Friedman there now finally clears Jamal Cloudon. But can Cloudon come back? That is the question. Cloudon knows he's got a better straight line by the looks of things. Is Will Friedman now going to choose to box? No, he's not.
We are halfway through, not over yet.
Not long to go, 20 minutes still left of this race. The 55, that is Duffin. Stop and go. Speeding in the pit lane, he's got the marks wrong. And a massive mistake there for Matthew Duffin. But meanwhile, he's flashing the lights at Jackal, say, look, get out of the way, mate, you're a blue flag. So Jackal should eventually jump out of the way as they go into turn number 1. Oh, they nearly made contact and made him a lot harder than he needed to be. So after all the stops, Goudet comes back out. Where was Skunky? There he is. So Goudet still the leading car in the pits, as Millington is now in the pits. Duffin now possibly kicking himself. He's got Fernie right behind him. But there are your leaders. And once again, O'Reilly's got quite close to the back of him. O'Reilly trying to stick with these guys as Friedman in third, pulling away from Cloudon and Silth for fourth and fifth. Now Silth wants a part of the action. He wants to get past the Camaro. And through the S's they go. O'Reilly 2/10. It is that close. Does O'Reilly think to pit and use the clean air? They're both coming in together. They're both reacting together, so that's possibly going to put Friedman in the lead of this race. Yes, it will. So the two leaders pit, and Silth now comes in as well. So O'Reilly and Tordock opt in to pit at that stage. And Friedman now leads this race. He ain't going to do much unless he has a fantastic stop. But Millington now coming out of the pits. Goudet's already long gone into turn number 1. Sorry, turn 4 it is. As Millington now gets a drive through as well. So pit lane has been catching them all out. And once again, Jamal Clouden just has no answer to Friedman as he pulls away. Carlos was also decided to stay out, as has Ramsell and Cummings. No, Cummings is coming into the pits, right, staying out, and Archer still yet to come in as well, as they've only got a couple more laps left to go to get that stop done. It's been great racing from these guys all night long. It's been awesome to see. As now pit stops are taking to effect, as we got Unsworth onto the back of Millington. What other fights we got here? Taylor's on the back of Old Sim Racer as well. Rob Smith did have Hunt behind him, but Hunt has dropped a little bit further back. And through the S's they go. So Torok has come out and O'Reilly's jumped him. So Torok has been jumped by O'Reilly. So O'Reilly now leads this race. Silth now comes back out there. Where's Herbert? There he is. And they just feed their way into the traffic. Archer choosing to carry on through. Friedman and Clouden both come in. So does Carlos. Will Ramsell choose this time round to pit as well. But O'Reilly jumping ahead of Torok. This is going to be the fight of the season, I think, between these two. It's been fantastic to watch how close O'Reilly could get to him. Now he's got some clean air. Will this help him out? Duffin, meanwhile, will have to pit very soon. And to serve his stop and go penalty. Leaders are all, including Ramsell. Archer will have to pit this lap if he makes it in time. As they head themselves through the S's. But O'Reilly got the jump on Torok. Torok's got a lot of work to do now. And Herbert still in kind of no man's land at the minute. Drive through clear for the 59. That was Millington. As they go through the final sector now, Duffin pressurising the back of Goudet, but all that work will probably be for nothing. As where is Archer? Archer's now coming to pit lane, and the pit window is closed before he got there, so it will not count. As Duffin now finally pits, O'Reilly clears the leaders, and Clouden and Friedman are side by side once again as they come through the pit lane. And up the inside goes Clouden. Friedman's going to keep it pinned though, and Friedman stays in front. As Jamal Clouden's going to try and come back at him straight away, and Friedman holds on to position, but he goes a bit wide. He's going to get onto the dirt, he's going to get onto the curb, but he just manages to hang in there. So that was very close. He nearly got the jump there, did Clouden. And Torok now brought the gap back down to O'Reilly once again. Seems to get into a groove, and there he is. Silth, meanwhile, has jumped the pair of them. So with that clean air, Silth has ended up ahead of Friedman and Clouden. Nicely done there by Silth. He's jumped those two. Herbert's now coasting onto the back of them. Goudet kind of in no man's land. He's ahead of Carlos. Skunky worked his way back up to 9th. Ramsell now in 10th place position. Unsworth is now in 11th. Les Fernie in the chat saying, wow, what a superb race. It's been brilliant so far. Old Sim Racer in 13th. 14th is Cummings. 15th is Aberdeen. 16th is Taylor. Johnson in 17th. Wright in 18th. Archer now coming out of the pits in 19th place position. Smith goes back up a position. So does Hunt. Duffin drops down. Stardog goes up as well, tipping pretty much Duffin and Archer are behind Millington, so they've dropped down to 27th and 28th position. But O'Reilly He was playing chase earlier, now he's being attacked by Tordok. So Tordok trying to bring that gap back down once again. Meanwhile, Jamal Cloudon's made another mistake. He's side by side with Herbert. Herbert gives him a shove. And Jamal Cloudon losing another position there. So Jamal Cloudon just seems to be struggling in his Camaro. Was up in third. He's now dropped down to 6th place. Jacko, meanwhile, still being hunted down by old Sim Racer. Oh, just ahead of him is the Audi of Wheel, who's all over the shot. And old Sim Racer tries to capitalise, but can't do so because the car is right in the way. And Cummings has brought the gap down to them now. As Tordok has got back past ahead of O'Reilly. So another position gained back there for Tordok. Possibly some fresh tyres on that car. As they're now coming up to lap Duffin. I think Tordok has changed tyres. And he's made up that 5-second deficit. And O'Reilly is not really going to give this up. He's still going to give it a good go. As they're pushing as hard as they possibly can. But O'Reilly there, just struggling at this stage of the race now as Tordok tries to pull away. Jamal Cloudon dropping further back to Herbert there. And Carlos is caught Goudet now. More fights happening up and down the grid. Hunt has cleared Smith, and Stardog is now onto the back of him. Hibbs slowly been working his way up the order. Can Friedman catch down still towards the end of this race? That is the question. And there is Carlos. He's on the back bumper of Goudet. Carlos looking left, looking right, looking for an opportunity to get past him, but he can't find a way through at this stage. Goudet doing everything he can to keep that Porsche behind, but the Porsches have suddenly come alive again. Carlos very quick at the minute. Meanwhile, Tordok is pulling away from O'Reilly. Carlos has a sniffing opportunity. Is he going up the inside? No, not quite. As Goudet goes deep, and that's enough to go through. Carlos makes the position. Tordok now lapping Duffin, and O'Reilly just comes at the wrong time, at the wrong place. Through the inside it goes O'Reilly. And Tordok pulling away. Sills, meanwhile, is being hunted down by Friedman. Herbert still got Cloudon behind him. And Carlos now pulling away from Goudet. As Jackal now has been passed by old Sim Racer. And Cummins is right behind him. Once again, that McLaren straight line will help him out quite a bit now. Down the back straight, there you go. Jackal looking to attack the Mercedes-Benz, possibly. No, he stays in position. And through the chicane they go. And Cummins now right on the back wing of the McLaren. And Cummings looking for a possible way through. The Alpine driver looking to the outside. Oh, he gets onto the marbles and off he goes. Cummings makes a mistake, and Aberdeen is going to capitalise on that, as will Johnson. I think Johnson's right there. Has he got an opportunity up the inside? No, not quite. So Johnson not able to capitalise either. Right nowhere near this fight at this stage. Meanwhile, Tordok pulling away from O'Reilly. Well, I say pulling away, it's stayed relatively the same as O'Reilly is in P2 and only a second gap. Meanwhile, Friedman has caught Silth and up the inside. No, not quite far enough. Hadn't quite got the confidence there. And through the S's they go. And Will Friedman, is he finally going to find that opportunity up the inside of Silth? He's taking his time, he's waiting for the right opportunity. He's still got 10 minutes left of this race. As we are coming to the very end of this race now. Or as we see there, once again, Friedman and Silth just getting close to one another. We'll come back to that fight as Unsworth is got ahead of old sim racer here, or as Unsworth lost time because he is now under pressure from the cars around him. And the Mercedes of old sim racer has looked good in this one. He's worked his way back forward. He's got rid of the bad luck from previous races and had a good Indianapolis. As Johnson trying to work his way onto the back of him as well. No real fights other than that as Silth and Friedman. Friedman's cleared Silth just as I come away and think that nothing's going to happen. Friedman has cleared Silth and Friedman up another position. So Porsche 1 and 3 at this stage. And Silth just losing out there. Herbert and Clouden still close to one another. But Friedman gets the job done, and Tordok has clearly got the gap down to O'Reilly and it's pulled away nicely. Unsworth now, look at this train of cars as he goes deep. That's going to invite old sim racer and the Jackal for an opportunity as we finally see the daylight here in Indianapolis. But old sim racer coming back at Unsworth. He's in the slipstream, he's in the tow. Is he going to send it up the inside of turn number 1? Unsworth makes his one move. And old sim racer's going for it. He's released the brake ever so slightly, and that's given him the position. Meanwhile, Cummings has gone up the inside of Aberdeen, but Aberdeen keeps it pinned and stays in position. Aberdeen holds on to that place as old sim racer gets ahead of Unsworth and gets into 11th place position. Silth, meanwhile, has not given up on Friedman. Is going to stick to the back of him as best he can. Johnson not too far behind these lot. And he coming together with these lot, and he should be able to capitalise on that. As old sim racer. Oh, and there goes the Jackal and Cummings. They've made contact. And Cummings and Jackal are going to get going. Jackal does get going. And Cummings is waiting for him. Is Aberdeen in this as well? No, Aberdeen's got going as well. As Unsworth looks back up the inside of old sim racer, they go a little bit deep into the right-hander. But Silth now really trying his best to hang in there and get past old sim racer. As Unsworth giving him a flash of the lights to old sim racer. Is he going to try and send it up into turn number 1? They're close and he thinks about it, but he's not quite close enough. The Mercedes. Meanwhile, Herbert and Clouden are going at it. Herbert goes deep. Clouden looks to try and get the undercut, try and get back underneath. You can see the two Chevy Camaros not really been attacked by anyone or challenging anyone at this stage. So they're kind of in their own little scrap at the minute. As the two Chevy Camaros duke out for who's top dog. But the man in front, Tordok, has just been in control of this race. He did lose the lead momentarily, but I believe that was due to a tyre change. But he had the confidence, he had the pace, and through he came. In the slipstream goes Jamal Clouden. He's going to look up the inside of turn number 1, but he's not quite close enough, and Herbert just breaks that a little bit later. Old Sim Racing now pulled away from Umsworth. He's actually under pressure from Aberdeen. And also Taylor's now attacking Jackal. So Jackal under pressure here. Jamal Clouden, though, still going at it tooth and nail with Herbert. Or is he going to look up the inside? Herbert just gives him the space. He understeers wide. Jamal Clouden is going to be there up his inside. And once again, they're going tooth and nail. Down towards the left-hander they go. Which Chevy is going to reign supreme? Herbert and Clouden still going at it, and Clouden gets pushed wide. And Herbert just hanging in there for the meantime. What else is going on? Jackal and Taylor still going at it. Who else? We got Hibbs on the back of tipping. Where's Duffin in all this? He's gone off. He's made a mistake. He was catching Smith. Every point counts here. And once again, this is your closest fight at the minute. Herbert versus Clouden. Is he going to send it up the inside of turn number 1? Once again, he's going for it. A last-minute dart out. Up the inside. Herbert gives him the space, but both of them go deep. Herbert holds on to the position, though. Both drivers going at it, and this is just for 6th and 5th. Some great racing between these two. Clouden back up the inside. He's going to be on the outside, though, for the next corner. Is he going to look up the inside? He's trying to find a way through. He's trying to sneak his way through. But he can't get the job done. He can't get the traction. As they're now coming up to lap, Matthew Duffin. Clouden all over the shot now, left and right, trying to find any opportunity. And Herbert not fazed by it whatsoever. Oh no, he goes a little bit deep into the S's. Possibly Clouden just trying to distract him, make him look in his mirrors a bit much. But Jamal Clouden right underneath, trying to find the room. And up the inside, there's the opportunity. Is it job done? No, because Herbert's going to keep his foot pinned. He stays on the inside. Clouden's going to have to give him racing room. He's going to be on the inside for the final corner. And around the outside, Herbert loses out, but Jamal Clouden gets back ahead. Is Herbert going to come back at him? Herbert goes back to the outside. Jamal Clouden's going to hold the inside. Herbert's going to try and brake later. He does. He gets the job back done on Clouden. Some great racing there from these two Chevy Camaros. But it's Herbert back ahead once again. Meanwhile, back at the front, Tordok still ahead of O'Reilly by quite a healthy gap. Friedman has actually been catching O'Reilly. Downs, that's 2.8, still just dropped off the back of him. And you still got this fight between Herbert and Clouden. The titanic battle between two Camaros. Clouden going to go around the outside of Tordok. And no, sorry, Herbert. And Herbert holds on to the position once again. Clouden, poor exit, poor run. And through the S's they go, and I think Jamal Clouden's going to have to recover what he lost and try and build that gap back up. So for now, Herbert holds on to that position. Meanwhile, where is Tordok? He starts his final lap here at Indianapolis. It's been an MSA dominant so far. Carlos winning the sprint, and now it looks like Tordok is going to win the third race as well. As they go through the first couple of chicanes, Friedman trying to hunt down O'Reilly towards the end, but I don't think he's going to get him. Clouden back onto to Herbert again. And Herbert holding on just to the very end here of this race. Oh, he goes on two wheels through there. As once again Clouden trying his absolute best to try and work his way past Herbert, but Herbert's doing everything that he needs to do right now to hold on to that fifth place position. It's been a great little scrap between the two Chevys. Meanwhile, we look back to this man leading the championship, looking strong in his Porsche. It's going to be another win to his name. Tordok goes into the final few corners here. Into the final corner now. Tordok is going to win round 6 of the season. He wins here at Indianapolis. He wins the feature race. Congratulations to Tordok. He wins that one. O'Reilly's going to finish in second ahead of Friedman. Stills is going to finish in that 5th place position. And here comes Herbert. Here comes Jamal Clouden. They put up a fantastic fight, a titanic fight between the Camaros. But it's going to be Herbert ahead of Clouden. Carlos is going to come home for a 7th, a first and a 7th for him. A good night in the office for him. John Goudet coming out of the final corner. A solid drive in the Chevy Camaro. He's going to finish in 8th place. Good job to him. Skunky, after being involved in some of the incidents earlier on, he's going to finish in that 9th place position. Down the straight comes Ramsell. He finishes in the 10th place, finishing in the top 10. Meanwhile, Old Sim Racer and Unsworth and Aberdeen are still going at it. But I think Unsworth is just going to hang in there. Yes, he is ahead of Old Sim Racer, ahead of Aberdeen. Johnson just finishes ahead of Wright. Taylor is going to finish in 16th, ahead of Stardog. And then ahead of the Jackal, hunting that 19th place position. Tipping is still ahead of Hibbs right now. But there's Taylor across the line, ahead of Stardog. Here comes Jackal, followed by Hunt, and then Tipping just ahead of Hibbs. Great racing from those guys at the end there, and it is the way of Tardog, who takes the win from O'Reilly, from Friedman, Silth, Herbert, Clouden, Carlos, Goudet, Skunky, and Ramsell rounds off your top 10, and a brilliant drive from all those guys. Whew. Awesome stuff from the championship contenders there. It has been a phenomenal night's worth of racing here, and I believe the tables are being updated as we speak. So while they are being updated, we'll have a quick look at what's next for us on the season. And up next in the championship, we go to round 4. It is at Bathurst Mount Panorama. It's round 4 of the championship, with Silverstone followed up behind it, with Kyle Army round 6, round 7, Imola round 8, Nürburgring round 9, Red Bull Ring round 10 will be Walton Park, round 11 is Watkins Glen, and round 12 will be Donington Park. So make sure you tune into all of the action this season. It is still going to be intense. It's still going to be great. But that is it for the Indianapolis saga, as I believe Matt is still updating the tables as he goes. But I'll tell you what, the drivers will get an updated version of the championship standings. I don't know if any of the drivers are wanting to come in for a chat in the commentary box. I'll see if anyone's in the comms box. Not at the minute. But yeah, it has been great action here at Indianapolis. Next time out, we were head down to the Gold Coast. We'll head down to, well, not the Gold Coast, we'll head to Australia, down under for the next round of the season. Bathurst Mount Panorama. I know Benny's very excited about that one and his home track. But I've been Dan Davis. This has been SimPlay Motorsport, and we'll catch you next time out tomorrow night, as the Pro-Ams will be hitting the track, and also Thursday will be the pros. But from myself and everyone here at SimPlay Motorsport, good night.